Again, my name is Dedra Lane. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Park Heights Renaissance. I want to also acknowledge Merck and the Blue Caribbean. Thank you for hosting us this evening. Let's give them a round of applause. Interdependent. We need each other. And we at Park Heights Renaissance, we revel in that. We know that our success is contingent upon your success. And we're committed to the cause of being of support. I want to just acknowledge the Park Heights staff who are here, and I want you to see who they are. So if you need to follow up, you can. I want to start with our Executive Director, Yolanda Jiggets. She will be the next voice you hear after mine. Hey, for Yolanda. I want to acknowledge Aisha Burgess, our Director of Community and Human Services. She oversees our Clean and Green team, our Safe Streets team, and our schools staff. Hey, Aisha. I want to acknowledge Tamara Thomas. She is a consultant with PHR. She does a lot of work with us around our construction and home repair grants work. She is a phenomenal person. You need to know who she is. Hey, Tamara. Also, Derek Ellis, who is the manager of our Clean and Green team. He's here tonight, and we're so grateful for his efforts in the Clean and Green work and helping us to keep the community as beautiful as we can. Hey, Derek. Certainly want to acknowledge Lindsay Fisher, our program associate, who was here early getting set up, who is always our legs and arms when it comes to these things and makes the environment inviting. Yay, Lindsay! Additionally, I want to remind you to please keep in mind that there is a QR code on your flyer. We want you to fill that out. There's a survey. Your opinion, your voice matters. It helps us inform the work that we do. I don't want to be remiss in acknowledging our very own Dana Ellis, student and intern. Yay, Dana! All right, housekeeping. There are refreshments for, did I forget somebody? Oh, I didn't see you, Jasmine. Our very own violence prevention coordinator for our Safe Streets program, Miss Jasmine Mayer. Yay, Jasmine. Refreshments are available to you in the back on my right, your left perhaps. Help yourself at the intermission point, and I'll let you know when that is. Additionally, the ladies' rooms are in the back at the blue door. The men's room is to the right of the refreshment table in the blue door. All right? Now, Lindsay is trying to tell me something, and I'm okay, that I'm old and I can't hear, so I need her to speak up. The men's door is white. If you go in the blue door, we don't know what you'll find. The men's door is white. Thank you for that, Lindsay. That's really very important. That's where I'm going to stop. Again, I'm going to have Yolanda come up. She's going to give you an overview of PHR. Once she finishes, that will be your intermission to help yourself to the refreshments and the drink. We want you to make yourselves at home, be real comfortable, and know that you're in the room with family. You should also know that Tasha is here, Sean is here, Marcus is here, Dana is here, Ian is here, Pastor Claiborne is here from Agape, Sandra is here, Miss Morton from Morton Movers is here, Christian is here, and if I haven't called your name, it's because I haven't gotten around to you personally, but we're glad that you're here. This is family. So please welcome Yolanda Jiggets.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Y'all so quiet. Are y'all excited to be here tonight to talk about how we can get some money up in Park Heights? All right, I want to give you just a quick overview of Park Heights Renaissance. I'm Yolanda Jiggets. I'm the executive director. I started, seems like eons ago, but it really was only 2 years ago in January 2020. And right after I started, I was welcomed to a pandemic. So I am very excited to see you guys tonight, and thank you again for coming out during a pandemic. We really wanted this to be in person so that we can get a feel for our business merchants and residents in Park Heights. We're trying to do this safely. I took my mask off just so you could hear me better, but let's be safe tonight. Let's get some information, and most of all, let's get focused on how we can get funding to drive economic opportunities here in Park Heights. I am very excited to be a part of this project because I too am born and raised in Park Heights. So this project has a special place for me because I was born right here at Sinai, attended schools in Park Heights, and have lived all up and through Park Heights. So coming back to the place where I started has been very rewarding, but I will say in honesty, it has been one of the most challenging things that I've done in my career thus far, and I really thought I had done some challenging things before I got here. Because it's not only work, I've done a lot of community work over the years, but this almost feels personal. So when we do not get what I think we deserve, you guys have no idea the hours I spend fighting for us. So tonight, I want to reintroduce Park Heights Renaissance because I'm a candid person and we should be honest. There's been a lot of questions about what PHR is, what they may have done, what they may not have done. But I truly see Park Heights Renaissance today as a different organization than it may have been 5 years ago or 6 years ago. And I, as a leader of the organization, but do not represent Park Heights Renaissance as an individual, collectively, all of the people that were introduced tonight, and this is only a small portion of our staff, they are just as committed. We fight, we fuss, and we figure out strategy to make things happen, despite us all having limited funding. But real quick, Park Heights Renaissance is a nonprofit organization. We are a community development corporation with the mission of working with residents, business owners, faith-based leaders, and other stakeholders in the community to really drive investment to this area and really look at community development as a holistic approach, right? So that goes back to making sure that we put resources and services in place that really grow the people, creating opportunities that will be generational. We're not perfect. We're not perfect. And we're not perfect. But I tell you one thing tonight I can contest to, that we're dedicated to really trying to move the needle in a different way. We want to be aggressive, and we are being aggressive, but we are tired. We can't do this fight alone because the battle ahead, we need everybody. Everybody in here, for you to tell everybody you know that has a stake in Park Heights, you talk about it when you're on the street. And don't be afraid to tell us if we are doing something less desirable or out of touch with what you think, but do it in a way that you too show a level of commitment and engagement in the process. Give us feedback, not criticism, because that's what we need in order to learn. None of us are perfect. This redevelopment project, I don't know if many of you know, is the largest urban renewal project in the state of Maryland. It is the largest. Therefore, we need an abundance of money. We need an abundance of money and collaboration and advocacy to make sure long waits are no longer the case. We need to be innovative. We need to be building partnerships. We need to be bringing private investors. So tonight, I welcome you to join us as partners. I hope this is the first of many iterations of us getting together like this to provide resources to our business district, because I have a dream of this area being one of the next main street districts in Maryland. Come on, y'all, give it up. All right. And Sean Sinet is here tonight to really walk us through that. One of our goals is not only to dream about a Main Street district, but talk about how we can work collectively to apply for a Main Street designation and get that designation, and what that means to the success and growth of this community. So at Park Heights Renaissance, just real quick too, we have a Safe Streets program. One of the original sites of the 10 sites now across the city. We have an education department. We have 5 school coordinators who are assigned to each of the 4 schools in the master plan area, and then 1 additional school in our 1-mile radius, which is cross country. We also have a Clean and Green team. I hope you've seen some of them out and about. And Clean and Green, I just want to give some super extra shout outs for, because last year, 2020 now, during the pandemic, Clean and Green really stood up. We got criticized, but we also got applauded by many. But I'm proud of the work that they did, because cleaning Park Heights is not our job, technically. It is a city service. And we complemented that work and tried to work in partnership. So again, Clean and Green will be out on the street. If you see something, if you hear something, collaborate with us. But please don't think that because you see trash that we're not doing any work. We are doing a lot of work to really complement a service that is supposed to be provided by the city. But we also have to take responsibility in our community, and that's why I'm so proud of Clean and Green, because it shows the effort of us taking responsibility for our community, but also trying to spread the word to residents and neighbors on how they too can be ambassadors to keep their own neighborhoods clean. And a clean community also means a community that is attractive to investors. So you'll see in the coming year that our new focus in fiscal year 23, as we roll out our strategic plan, will be a clean, safe, and healthy Park Heights. We also have a development department, of course, and we are really looking to not call it the real estate department anymore. We really are looking to change that to housing and economic opportunities, because that's what this is all about. Building economic opportunities that will generate wealth for us over generations to come. So again, welcome. It's great to see you. I don't want to prolong this. Dedra's going to come back up, I believe, after this. I don't know what to do, so I'm going to turn it over to her. But again, welcome everybody, and thank you for being here tonight.
So I'm not going to be before you long at this point. I am standing between you and your refreshments, and I don't want to do that for very long. But I do want to express to you what our aim is in coming here tonight. It is to really create a space and an environment where we can come together as a community and talk about issues around business development and merchant interests, develop relationships, and bring information before you to grow us and strengthen us as a collective. Our aim is to do this at least quarterly, and we hope that you will tell someone who will tell someone who will tell someone until we have outgrown every space that we come to every quarter. That's the only way that as a collective we'll be able to do this and to do it successfully. I also want to share with you that over the last quarter, Park Heights Renaissance initiated a strategic planning process, including our board. And we walked away from that experience with 3 primary focus areas for us to implement in our strategic plan, which will take effect in July, on the 1st of July. Those 3 areas are customer experience. We want to know how you experience us, what the quality of those interactions are, and how we can improve as an organization. The second area of focus is fiscal management. We are a grantor of community impact grants, and we're relatively new in this role. So we have learned a tremendous amount already from the community about how to be good stewards over the money that comes into this community and make it useful on the streets. We still got a little ways to grow, and we're committed to doing that, and we hope that you will partner with us and give us honest, candid feedback. Sometimes it'll feel like criticism, but as long as we know that the intent is in love and for our collective growth and development, we can receive that, and we can implement that for practice. The third area is looking at program outcomes. Yolanda laid out for you what the programs are that we have responsibility for overseeing, and we really want those programs to be impactful. So we're looking at metrics that will tell the story of the impact that we're making in Park Heights. So it's 3 areas. They are customer experience, fiscal management, and program outcomes. Can we say that together? Because I want y'all to remember and hold us accountable. Can we say it together? First one, customer experience. Second one, fiscal management. Third one, program outcomes. Now, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to ask y'all to say it. What's the first one? And what's the second one? And what's the third one? Okay, so we got it. So this is how we're going to be successful in our efforts moving forward, understanding what we're working towards and how we're working towards it. So I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and get yourself some refreshments so you can eat something and drink something before we move on to our presentation from Sean Stinnett. Thank you so much.
Hopefully you guys don't mind as far as me sitting down. I just want to make sure that I got everything that I'm going to, all the information I'm going to give out. I want to make sure that I'm following as far as my notes and everything, so I don't want to miss anything, because I know you guys come and wanted to hear exactly what the city is going to do for you as far as in terms of your businesses and opportunities as far as what we have within the city, and kind of get you on a good roadmap, so to speak. And my apologies for anybody that's behind them. But I hate to talk with my back turned, but my apologies firsthand. Once again, thank you for coming out. I'm always impressed that we all could be doing something totally different, but it's always good that people coming out when they have a business, they want to hear about opportunities, we want to see as far as what we need to do, what you need to do as far as to take the necessary steps as far as towards gaining opportunities and doing business with the city or even with the state. So I'm going to start off by just giving a little bit of background of myself, and then really kind of get into the full dose of information as far as what you guys came out for. Currently I'm the Deputy Director of the Mayor's Office of Minority and Women-Owned Businesses, as well as I'm the Director of Baltimore Main Streets. So when Yolanda talks about potentially bringing the Main Street program here to Park Heights, we've already had some discussions, actually a couple of meetings, several meetings as far as bringing the Main Street program over here, and we're hoping to do that. But of course, it's going to be definitely as far as some steps that which I'm going to explain within my notes. As far as it's some steps as far as that the community has to partake, as well as some steps that the city has to partake as well. But I do want to let folks know that, like I said, I've been with the city in the mayor's office since last January of 2021. I had served 10 years with the Maryland Department of General Services as the Procurement Review Group Administrator, which that pretty much says that I had, my job was I received all of the contracts that were coming through DGS valued at $100,000 or more. My largest project that I actually managed in regards to making sure that I bring opportunities to the MBE, the Minority Business Enterprise community, was the Enoch Pratt Library, which was downtown, which was $94 million. And I set a goal of 40% MBE with the 10% veterans, 5% veterans on that contract. And of course, once the prime contractor, Gilbane Construction, saw what goals I set, trust me, 5 minutes later, they made a call to the Secretary of DGS and said they needed to see me ASAP because they were upset with the goal setting. So I don't cut corners. My thing, especially when you have projects within Baltimore City, I'm all about pushing as much opportunity as possible for the MBE community, and that's why the mayor wanted me to come to his office as far as advocating and putting some of my past experience into this process of the new procurement reform that we're going to be going through soon, as well as making sure that we open and making sure that people like your business owners in these communities that may have been left out through a number of years, we need to make sure that we do better as far as to present and give you the necessary resources and opportunities that you can take advantage of. Like I said, I served 10 years with DGS, and once I left there, like I said, I was presented a wonderful opportunity as far as to work with the Scott administration, and I'm very pleased and happy that I made this decision, because not only that I enjoy doing what I'm doing, because my thing is, and this is something that I felt that was missing, or at least wasn't presented to folks like you, is that you don't work for me, you don't work for the city. I work for you guys. In order for your business to be successful, I want to make sure that I'm doing my part as far as to make sure that your business is successful and you have opportunities, or you see opportunities as far as within the city, and I need to make sure that those opportunities, information gets out to you. So that was pretty much my number one reason why I wanted to make sure that there is a voice when it comes to terms of projects coming to this particular area and other areas, because that was the first thing that I explained to the chief of staff when we were talking about this opportunity, particularly Baltimore Main Street, for me to take over, is that in my Main Street areas, the closest predominantly black neighborhood that we have a Main Street at is Pennsylvania Avenue. Other than that, everything is downtown, Pigtown, Federal Hill, Fells Point, but then you have maybe Bel Air Edison, Highlandtown, Hamilton, Laurelville, and so forth, and Waverly. So I knew that, look, in order for me to really be successful, I need to find every opportunity and every resource that we have within city services to start working on and trying to bring a Main Street program to the Park Heights community, the Liberty Heights community, Irvington, and a lot of other areas as far as where I feel that the program could be very, very beneficial. And it's a good thing that, I call the shots when it comes to that. It's just all about as far as let's put some money together, let's put our heads together, and let's hopefully start working towards that to bring programs as far as the Main Street programs to areas like this. So the team, so I want to, kind of give you an idea, and Yolanda had asked me, to not only just, speak to everybody as far as opportunities, particularly, these grant opportunities, but I just want to kind of just run through a little bit to kind of explain to you what kind of resource that we have within our office, within our Minority and Women-Owned Business Development Office. Because a lot of times folks kind of get some things misconstrued as far as what we offer or what we have available for business owners as far as within our office, but I want to make sure that everybody sort of have a clear-cut idea on what we have. I work with a team which we're led by Director Paul Taylor. I know a lot of people are familiar with Paul Taylor, and the good thing about it, he's also lives in Ashburton, so he's from this area, so he's very knowledgeable and definitely forthcoming in terms of hopefully potentially bringing the Main Street program over to this area. And the other team members that we have that handles a lot of different tasks or skill set as far as within the office, like marketing and budget management, stuff like that. Myra Blanchard, Lisa Saunders, who is actually the program manager for the Small Business Resource Center, Reginald Mack, and Chris Powell. And Chris Powell is our program manager with Baltimore SourceLink, and that's something I'm going to explain. There's a number of business resources that we've had that we utilize within our office. And one of the things is the Small Business Resource Center, Baltimore Community Lending, Baltimore SourceLink, and of course, Baltimore Main Streets. And Baltimore SourceLink, I've always mentioned that it's sort of your one-stop shop in terms of business. And this is what the website looks like. And to kind of real quickly, just kind of give you an idea, even if you're a startup, or even if your business has been established for some time, but you're looking for something some additional resources, or even when it comes to funding, and like I said, we're going to be talking about a few things about grants and all that, you can just scroll back and forth as far as left to right are those drop-down menus. So of course right there where it says startup, when you put the cursor over that startup, you see all the information that you can click on, steps for successful startups, prepare for success, plan your business, meaning, get that business plan tight and together, register and license your business and forms of business organization. So everything is right there that you can utilize. And this website is www.baltimoresourcelink.com. And then if you're looking for information in regards to growth, of course, that's the drop-down key, maintaining growth, marketing to drive profits, and so forth. And then even funding. Funding has a lot of information as far as funding right there. That you'll find even additional information if more grants come out, especially through this ARPA funds, but financing, go back to funding, financing fundamentals, crowdfunding, microloans. So it gives you a lot of different avenues as far as the type of funding that or organizations that we work with as far as in reference to if you're looking for a specific type of funding. And then of course Baltimore Resources, and that's where you'll find as far as a lot of information as far as like even dealing with COVID-19, dealing with the PPP loans that we had before, and of course Office of Minority and Women-Owned Businesses, and that's our office. And of course you see certifications. We do provide information, or at least the application, if anybody's interested in getting your MBE, which is the Minority Business Enterprise, or the WBE, which is Women Business Enterprise certification. I've always recommend if you're in any type of, if your business is you provide some type of service, or even like we have here as far as a food and beverage establishment, I always recommend as far as, getting your MBE, WBE certification, because there's always opportunities that not only if you're not up to capacity, that you want to try to subcontract on a contract that's solicited through the city, and then that contract is looking for an MBE or WBE vendor. When you have that certification, then you could submit a proposal to that prime contractor, or to that company that's bidding as a prime, because you have that certification towards the goal that they need to achieve based on that particular contract. Our overall goal as far as within the city that we have to reach at the end of each fiscal year is we need to make sure that that those contracts are contract to at least 20% of the minority business community and 10% of the women business community. And I do want to mention that I want to make sure that no one gets gets it confused as far as with the state, because the state numbers are very different as well. The state kind of terms a minority business, under that umbrella is everybody, including women. Baltimore City is the only one that actually breaks it down as far as it have that 10% WBE goal. But as far as the state, it's 29% MBE, and that includes women, African American, Asian American, Hispanic, and so forth. Yes, sir.
How has the city done in meeting those goals?
No, that's a great question. That's the reason why I'm here.
We need more
with the city. I'm sorry? Yeah, it's just, my thing is, and this is the way I would, I guess, sort of answer your question politically, is that we need to make sure that we identify folks like you, because the problem is when you have a prime contractor who is, at times is not from Maryland, that's out of state, that has a contract, they'll go to that directory and say, hey, I'm going to submit a waiver because I don't see any concrete vendors. I don't see any drywall vendors, stuff like that. If we don't have you guys in that system, then yeah, we giving them justification on why we need to approve them a waiver, because we don't have those vendors, we don't have you in that system. So that's why it's very important. So that's when that brings the challenges when we don't meet the goals. But if we meet the goals, and this is something that, like I said, when I was with the state, we've had contracts, particularly one of my last contract was $19 million. It was a state, Maryland State Trooper Barracks project and garage in Cumberland, Maryland. And I put a 30% MBE goal and a 10% veterans on it. Right after the meeting, literally about 15 non-black people surrounded me and said, "You're crazy about the MBE goal." But I said, no, I'm not crazy. I said, you know, if you voted for Governor Hogan, he said that Maryland is open for business. So Maryland has to be open for business. So anybody that comes from Baltimore to say, hey, they wanted to bid on that contract, you put your accommodations all in that solicitation so you can be there for that particular contract. So we just, you know, so I say that to say that we just have to make sure that we get businesses like you, and this is why it's great when this type of turnout and I do these type of meetings, because we need to make sure that I know you and you know me. You know, I give you the tools as far as to get certified, so when you see a solicitation out there, you're not just saying, hey, I can do work for you, and you don't have that certification, but now saying that I can do work for you, I want to be a part of this project, and you have that MBE, that WBE certification. So they can't justify saying that there's no one out there that they can't solicit to.
Is there some type of, is there a ranking of what types of services require the highest level of MBE solicitation?
No.
Is there any,
Yeah.
what industries are most solicitation as far as, like, what's the ranking?
Right, well, it depends on what type of contract that's being solicited. You know, so it's hard to say, and I understand where you're coming from, but it's hard to say because, like I said, it depends on what type of contract that's out there. Of course, we're, you know, just like here in Park Heights, we're going through a lot of development opportunities, development projects in this area. So you know you're going to have from A to Z as far as a full scope of construction trades. So, you know, those are the primary people that we want to know who they are, especially when you talk about project management and everything, as far as to make sure that those opportunities are presented in front of them. Because my thing is, I want to see those businesses work on, you know, venues or buildings that are right there in their neighborhood. So we don't have the dollars that's going outside of the city. We still have the dollars inside the city, and it's recycling as far as, because we have those businesses, those MBEs and WBEs coming from right from our communities. So it's hard to say. However, it's, you know, I've always said, you know, if you're thinking about a type of business, think outside the box as far as when starting that business. You know, I would say everybody could say, look, I'm starting a business and I'm going to start janitorial. But what are you going to do beyond that janitorial? You know, now we got COVID all over the place, so it's like you can do any type of COVID cleaning. You know, you do any type of, you know, floor cleaning, carpet cleaning, epoxy floor cleaning. You know, one of the things I know that was very hard in terms of finding contractors for the Borgeting District Court right on Wabash Avenue, because I couldn't find anybody who does epoxy flooring cleaning. And that's one of the most high traffic courthouses in the city. You know, so it's like, not just, you know, don't just say, hey, I'm gonna open up a business as far as I'm a clean, but find some other opportunities out, you know, within cleaning services that you can really solicit. So, like I said, I recommend, as far as as far as your certification, recommend that if you provide a service that you know that's an opportunity of a opportunity within Baltimore City, you through the Baltimore Cities Buy, you know, I recommend getting that certification so you can get that MBE, WBE certification. And then when you get up to a capacity, you know, don't get into business thinking that you have to be a subcontractor for the rest of your life. You know, grow your business, you know, utilize the resources through Baltimore SourceLink, and, you know, so far as to the point that you can put yourself in a position, in your company position, to become a prime contractor. Because to me, that's that's what my goal is, as far as provide the resources that you need to become not only, start off as a subcontractor, but one day become a prime contractor within getting a city or state contract. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, question. I have a black-owned business that we've been struggling getting some of these type of contracts because from our perspective, going to get that certification in certain markets doesn't actually benefit us because we're fighting for like 20% of a pie when we should be a prime contractor in a certain market. So if you're like manufacturing actual product, you should have the opportunity that all the other prime contractors in such communities get. So what we're finding in Baltimore City is we don't get the MBE opportunities, nor do we get the prime contracts because we're right in the middle. Not because of how we perform, but because we're black. So we're still an MBE, right?
Right.
But we don't get that support because we're choosing not to be in a small bucket, that they still only choose a small percentage of people to give those jobs. So it's been tough to get contracts because we don't really have any pool to jump in outside of doing things like this, integrating with the community, meeting firsthand with people. But from the city, it's been like a horrible move trying to like find which way to go to get contracts.
Right. What I can say is, I can't defend as far as what happened in the past. Trust me, I've heard and understand as far as what you're saying. What I can say as far as within the past year of this new administration, and I would say that not only this administration, I also have to include City Council President Nick Mosby, Comptroller Bill Henry, and then particularly, City Council President Mosby has been really nitpicking as far as when he sees things that are limited going towards the small minority black business community. And that's a good thing now, you know what I mean? Because before it wasn't really sort of nitpicked, or really those issues which you had just shared wasn't of a big concern, but now it is. Now is identifying as far as where our faults is and see what we need to do, even if we have to resolicit a contract in times, those times, occur as well, to make sure that we get full participation. And I think that's why it's very needed when, if you have that certification, or if you don't have that certification, we need to get you to be certified when there's an opportunity, to make sure that we can identify you and we can, work towards as far as that you can submit your proposal to a prime contractor to get on that contract as a subcontractor. Of course, and I don't want anybody to think that, I'm here. I wish I can go around, knock on somebody's door and say, hey, this is a contract opportunity. But it's a process as far as that, the bidding, to being the lowest bidder, to constantly as far as go to, pre-bid meetings and so forth, to actually let folks know as far as who you are, what certifications you have, and that you can do that type of service. But we can talk more offline to make sure that, the information that I have in my office that geared towards as far as what your service that you provided, that is really is able to capitalize on what you're looking for.
Thank you.
Two questions.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say, I don't know your name, but I'm Tamara, and I'm a small business as well. I do construction. Been over 25 years, my partner's been for 4 years. And we struggled at first. I've been on my contract since day one. It is an opportunity to being certified as a WBD. However, I will say this, it was a struggle with all the big GCs, because they go from project to project, and they want to bring all their subs, they know they can do the work. But I will say I was successful in 2011, 2012, when I went to a meeting like this, and we wanted to do all the masonry work in a hotel in East Baltimore, and they just kept dragging it out. So I just kept on pressing. So I made them hold the contract up for us. And I did that by coming to the CDC over East Baltimore and telling the person, hey, they not responding to us. They think we playing, they want to bring all their people with them and not give us the opportunity. So we were able to give an opportunity to make them wait for the contract. We did it, we got the contract. Then they slashed our contract in half to give it, we're going to do something different. But it backfired on them. We got a big change order because the person they gave all our contract to couldn't fulfill. So I'm going to say to you, anything in Park Heights, this urban redevelopment plan, if you want to bid, we are working with a lot of different developers, come to Park Heights and say, this is my service, this is my certification, I want to bid, and I can guarantee we're going to give you opportunities to bid. Now, you got to also be able to deliver. Okay, deliver financially, deliver with just your scope of work, because we got your back. So I'm going to tell you from my own experience, it's tough. I won't bid with the city. I don't like it. But I do deal with different developers and different contracts. So if you can deliver your services and you for real about anything with Park Heights is coming up in the future, we gonna stand behind.
And I'll say, Sean, and thank you, Tamara. If we could, just for sake of time, make sure that you just kind of excite us about the main streets a little bit. I went around passing out Sean's card. Definitely, as you can hear, a good resource. We want to make sure we also let BDC walk us through the grant that's coming up. So I just want to make sure we have time for all of that.
I'm sort of your watchdog. Whenever you're going through something as far as in terms of, what's hurting you as far as your business overall, I'm the one that you would contact and say, hey, I need help in this particular area or that particular area, or trash is not being picked up in our business area. We need help with that. So this is something that this type of program, like I said, is something that we want to bring to areas like Park Heights, because you have a combination of commercial, of small businesses and so forth, and also residential. It really provides a great makeup as far as what very similar to like a Hamilton, Laurelville, or to a Highlandtown, as far as what we can bring more or less as far as economic growth. Because of course, when we started building, putting our resources and putting our business together, as far as working together as a unit, of course it brings in more opportunities for not only small businesses, but even people that's looking for jobs. So like I said, we customize a special resource in order for your business to grow. And it's like I said, I came in knowing that, or at least informing this administration that we want to grow. We want to find other areas, particularly a lot of black communities, that we want to make sure that we bring this program to an area like Park Heights and like Liberty Heights and so forth. So we're definitely excited with this. There's an application process, application and a set of guidelines that that we put out there, that the community has to come together, and when they acknowledge that they want to bring the program here. So it's a process of putting together a sort of a board of directors, which you already have it here as far as in terms of Park Heights Renaissance. You start individualizing certain tasks when it comes to like real estate, when it comes to the small business management of the small businesses that are in the area, residential and so forth, community outreach. You put all those things together along with raising the necessary funds, which I've always suggested. It's good to really have a strong financial base coming if you're looking to open up start at Main Street, at least about $100,000 to really start it. The good thing about this particular area, we have the PCDA, the slots funds that you can take advantage of to actually utilize those funds in order to start a Main Street program.
And we'll talk about that at the end of the meeting.
Exactly.
Very important part of the meeting tonight.
What exactly do you need $100,000 for? What does that mean?
It gives you operating funds as far as to start really, because you got to hire a Main Street manager. You have to hire somebody that can run your office. So it's a couple of positions that you have to hire. So you have to build that financial infrastructure. Right now, the city also has to budget has to allocate funds within the budget of another Main Street. So right now we allocate $25,000 per Main Street site, which I think that it's very low. That's minimum money, and this has been like for the last 10 years. But I've been advocating very strongly as far as to increase that allocation, and especially taking advantage of these ARPA funds, and really of advocating to the point that, this is the best way as far as for me to be successful in this position if we're going to really give a little bit more as far as because these Main Street sites up until this point have been really, barely their head has been above the water because $25,000 hadn't really been enough. And a lot of these Main Street sites that I have, a lot of them only one man or one woman shop. So in order for them really fulfill a lot of the other positions, we have to do our part more as far as with the city, as well as, of course, when you have that built-in infrastructure, that helps out as well, because you need to maintain that, you need to make sure that you have a good, strong financial base.
So Sean, looking at this list of main streets that you have here, some of these are pretty expansive. Where would you see the starting and stopping point for the Park Heights Main Street? And because some of the things that we already know, that this is the biggest project, did you say in the city?
In the state.
In the state. So $25,000 is ridiculous. $100,000 is also ridiculous. So based on the information that we know and this list that you have right here, what do you think the starting and ending points would be for this Main Street?
Well, let me say this. You're right about as far as the $25,000. That's why it's like I'm advocating that we need to do more, so we can put in more. You know what I mean? So I'm sort of revamping the whole way that we do business as far as with the Main Street. So a lot of things that and that's why I'm not sharing the actual application and guidelines, because our legal team we're revising it. However, it's it's a good question and it's hard to say. You know what I mean? However, it's just that it's a great opportunity as far as the green point because of the amount of money that's coming. And when I say $100,000, that's just the startup. I'm not saying that that's the cap, but it's just that when you have that infrastructure and you have the opportunity as far as with a lot of the businesses that we have up and down the corridor, it's just this area has a very similar makeup as the other ones that are thriving, especially like when it comes to Hollandtown. I just, for right now, I see the very similarities of it and seeing how they have they operated as far as within that particular budget. It has worked. So that's why I said that I know it can work here, but of course that it just makes sure that we put in a little bit more so you can continue to grow.
But that's phase one. Where would you see it starting?
I'll answer it.
Thank you.
So the vision is to, because we're so large, and we'll see what Sean does on the tail end of reviewing, we're really looking to bring the Park Heights master plan area together as a business district. It doesn't have to be contiguous. So we're looking at the building strength off of what we already have. So that's from the 5100 block up to Northern Parkway.
What's the cross street?
Right here.
The 5100 block.
Where are we starting?
Haywood.
Is it Haywood?
No.
Belvedere.
Below Belvedere. Garrison. Right, up to Northern Parkway. So that's right where Vincent St. Paul is on the corner. Up to Northern Parkway, and then on Ricestown, everybody knows the Hilltop Shopping Center. So we're looking at the Hilltop Shopping Center up to Northern Parkway, and then the Park Lane Shopping Center that's at Park Heights and Cold Spring.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll have the opportunity to open a business, start a business, or grow your business?
So I'll say, so the Main Streets designation we can start doing this now, and that's what this meeting is about tonight. Let's build strength in the businesses that we have, right? So let's get the resources we need. But when you're talking about a Main Streets district, it's not an individualized process.
Right.
We have to build uniformity in ways that we promote the community. In this case, you have a partner that's already established, like Sean says, that will take away some of the burden. We're here to do the fundraising of the $100,000, right? But we need the businesses also to collaborate and be on one accord so that we have strength in building.
Can you define essentially what Main Street is? Is it a designated business district that has to have a common theme, design, based upon what the needs are of the community? What is it? Is it a designated destination? The requirement is that for the destination has to have $100,000 for administrative costs. Is that correct?
Right. That's the starting
The
base.
start. So that's to operating costs to facilitate the Main
Right.
Street management.
Right.
The city, then, the $25,000 that you're talking about is what the city used as a way to augment or to provide professional service to help those to apply for, what is it the city?
No, the allocation for what I mentioned, the $25,000, that helps as far as for that Main Street site's operating cost. Okay, and that's something, like I said, that I'm looking to increase that cost going to those particular Main Street sites. Currently our eight Main Street sites now. Right. So the Main Street site is a site that's a combination of commercial and residential. Okay, but has a large makeup of of commercial small minority businesses in that footprint of that Main Street.
I'm Raven Thompson, by the way. And I'm on the neighborhood and business development team. And I work in the Northwest and also the far South, so Brooklyn and Curtis Bay also. And today we'll just do a quick overview of the current grant opportunity. It is for any business that is in the city that has been established since February of 2020. And it is for professional services, including things like accounting, legal services, website development, POS system, management, all those types of services that businesses often need and aren't always sure how to get or are very expensive to get. So that is the main point of this grant. And it is a tiered approach, so the grant amounts are based on the revenue of your business, from $10,000, $25,000 up to $50,000. And I think that's it. I'll leave it at that. And so up on the screen is the application. It's all online, and it's pretty short, so there's only a few questions. And I will take questions from you guys.
What's the website to apply for that? We'll send out that information as well. It's on our social media. But we'll send it.
It's the BaltimoreBaseNetwork.org.
And maybe I could prompt some quick
Sure.
things. Like, can you tell everybody what documents that they need to have to submit the grant so that people can begin to prepare that information? I know this is a very easy document, but I just want people to know what they need to focus on right away, gathering if it's any business documents that they need to have to submit.
Sure. So typically every grant you need your business information, obviously, and then also usually an ID of the owner of the business. Also your business, like legal entity name and information. We also need a W-9, which is a tax form for payments. For this particular grant, we also need what you would like to spend the money on. And if you have a vendor picked out, you would include their information.
I have one question about
Sure.
that. I'm asking on behalf of somebody asked. If you are conceptualizing this plan, you may not have a vendor already. So that's not, if you don't have it, that's not going to disqualify you, right?
No,
I
it
just wanna make
won't.
sure.
But obviously, in order to get the grant going, so you can submit your application, and then the follow-up would be having a vendor. There's also on the website a vendor list that the Base Network has put together. So there are some businesses that are already in the directory that you can choose from if you're unsure.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when you refer to the business information, are you saying that like far as like your business account, your LLC,
Yes.
your DBA?
Yes.
So would you need a like a business license?
Not every business has a license, but if you're the type of business that does, yes, we would need that.
How about tax documents?
Yes.
So what about a LLC or is you going to like a sole proprietorship or like a corporation? Do you need like all the info?
It would be your personal information. If you're a sole proprietor, it would be your information that you would submit, as opposed to a business entity.
Okay, thank you.
And what type of tax documents are needed so that people know to have everything to
How many years
upload
prior?
when they are filling out the application? Is it 1 year of taxes?
It's 1 year of taxes, so it would be 2020.
Would you need a blueprint as well? Like of what you using the money, what you need the money for?
Yes, exactly. So anything that you want to spend the money on, you would need supporting documentation to tell us what that is.
So do you have to be, are you saying that we have to, if we are requesting the money, it has to be already specifically earmarked for something, or can it be, I'm requesting money because I need capital for the business?
No, it can't. It can't be that general. It does need to be specific.
But I said payroll. I'm just trying to find out, are you?
Yes,
Okay,
you can.
Okay, so you
So
don't have to
you
actually
would have to
make a
have
purchase.
some, yes. But it can't just be like, I'm do general operating
No,
expenses.
that's what I meant, because it sounded like you were saying we need a vendor name, so I didn't hear the option in there that I need money for payroll. You know, I need money for this.
So it isn't specifically for that. It is for everything else I named.
Okay.
We're not going to disqualify people if that's what you need it for.
Okay.
But preference is given to people that are using it the way that we intended.
So basically, you already have an idea of what you are doing instead of.
Yes. So if you're a business and you have, you set up something real quick during the pandemic to take online orders and you don't actually like that system, it doesn't work, people complain, you know that you need to fix that, you can say, this is what I'm going to use the money for.
And I think but isn't it also, there are a lot of business impacted by COVID, so they have to shift direction. And if they don't have that system in place, this is an opportunity
Exactly.
to build that capacity.
Exactly.
So would this grant be going on for your credit?
It's not. It's a grant. There's no credit requirement.
Is there anything that would disqualify you from receiving this grant?
Like what, background?
Yeah, I need more.
As far as background?
No, there's no background check. There's you say who you are in these 15 questions, and that's pretty much it. The point is to give out as much money as possible. So there isn't gonna be, it's gonna be like, it's not gonna be super scrutinized. It's not gonna be, the tiny details. We really wanna know how people are gonna use the money, the name of your business, where you're located, and the main things are that your business has been in business and it's been impacted by COVID, which is everyone.
And everybody's business has
That
been
is every
impacted by
single
COVID.
business.
Is that something money?
Yes.
So once the grant money has been.
This is part of the $55 million that was
So
allocated.
say I applied for the grant and I got, say, $50,000 for a specific reason. Now, do your company or does your organization track how that money's being used?
Yeah, so after everything's all said and done, usually several months later, we'll ask for evidence of how you spent the money.
Okay, that's what.
So, does anybody else have any questions before I come up, which we're going to try to talk about some of the other opportunities that we can use to leverage this funding and build additional funding for the community as well?
I would say one thing just to add, please make sure that your business is in good standing with the Department of Assessment Taxation. Because if not, you're not going to get the grant money. Also, I highly recommend, talk to like a business starting over tax can help you do this. They do require 2021, a lot of you probably don't have that right, but get your profit and loss statement together and you can submit that with your documents. I looked at it earlier, the tax return, your profit and loss statement together, and just make sure that you submit it in time. And then put together a budget. So it's working capital, equipment, whatever it be, like 4 or 5 line items that fill up the 50,000 and submit and use.
I have a question. Right now, I have established business in another location here in the city, and I'm about to move to the Park Lane location. So am I entitled to a grant since, is that considered a new?
If it's the same entity and you're just moving,
Okay.
you've been established.
Okay, I just didn't know if moving from one area.
No,
to the
it's not
next.
based on location. It's about the business itself.
So the address, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You have to be designated as an MBE or WBE in order to get the status?
Absolutely not. Nope.
Oh, you said you don't need to be.
You don't have to be certified in anything.
But you do have to have tax documents.
Yes.
So if you are an indigenous entity, you wouldn't be eligible. Because they don't file taxes.
That
Gotcha.
doesn't matter.
So it would have to be recent
That's-
tax documents from
They
like
want
2021.
those type of
21.
business owners to apply for these grants.
Those that are not tribal or
Yeah,
indigenous.
black, indigenous, and
You
colored
saying they
people.
do or they don't?
I said those are the type of companies or owners that they're looking for to apply for these
But
grants.
they don't file taxes is my
Right, and you won't be disqualified. Just
We won't be.
No,
Yeah.
not
We
at
just
all.
don't submit no taxes and we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. That wasn't clear. I got it.
All right, so guys, I know it's getting late, but I really want to talk about some grant opportunities that are coming up pretty immediate in Park Heights only. Everybody listening, you're awake? All right, so we're here to also help provide guidance through this current grant opportunity. And I'm gonna tell you how I see this. We have to build, right, to get to where we need to be. Fill out this first grant application. It is super easy. Even though it did not sound like it, it is super easy. Go through the document. We will send out the information as well, the link. But basically, it's all of your identifying information as a business, a quick summary of why you want the funds, how you will use them, and it's pretty much that's it. It's not a lot. And we will be here as a resource. Call us. And we can get through that. And there are also resources at BDC. Sean Sinet's office is here. And there is a technical assistance section of the grant that is actually their job to help you get through the application if you have additional questions. But what I wanted to talk about next is the example is get that first grant. There may be $10,000, it may be $25,000, up to $50,000, and that's based on the revenues that your organization or business already earns. So if you are a business that the revenue is $250,000 or less, you're only eligible for $10,000. I forgot what the other.
It's 100,000, 10,000, 250, 25, over 250, 50.
Okay.
Why, is it a certain percentage that they go by?
Yeah, it depends on the revenue of your business. Okay. But pretty immediately, we have another funding opportunity that we can make happen together if we all work together. Is everybody here familiar with the PCDA and the PIMLICO slots funds that comes to Park Heights? Yes. People call it different things. Racetrack money, slots money, PIMLICO impact money, all the same. So right now, that process has started. The first public meeting was last night, And that's really for the board to hear the recommendations that were gathered and begin to get feedback. Last night, I will say, to my surprise as well, it wasn't highly publicized. And I really thought that next week, next Tuesday, February 1st, is the real public comment time. You all need to tune in. You all need to be a part of the process. The recommendations have already come out. So the city and planning department and PCDA board have been working to make recommendations. But before we get to that, I want you to be clear. The money that comes from casino revenues is for Park Heights. It has to be spent in Park Heights. It's our money, and we should be making the recommendations, and this process is really meant to be effectuated by community feedback, right? You have an opportunity to get us some business development grants right now for Park Heights. It is not a recommendation on the proposed list, but this process works by the community saying what they want.
Yes.
And this is a part of the work that we are trying to do. We're trying to be advocates for you. I'm screaming about it. I'm talking about it, and I came up with my own recommendations based on what we hear every day. And one of the areas that I'm particularly focused on is business development, as you see tonight, and we're talking about it. But to change this process and sway some of the recommendations, you have to say something. I've already said something. But this process allows you to submit letters on what the money should be spent on. I am recommending that everybody in here, whether you have a business or not, but if you believe in business growth in Park Heights, you have a right to submit a letter. You can say whatever you want. There are other categories, but I'm encouraging us, if you're here about business growth, to come together as a collaborative and write letters, be on that meeting, and speak up.
Yes.
Do not let this process go by and be angry when the money is diverted somewhere else when you could have made a difference.
In the community.
Right?
So how do we be a part of it?
I'm going to tell you. So these are the proposed recommendations that have come out so far. Homeowner repair grants is something that we all see great momentum in the Park Heights community. So we're definitely in favor of development incentives and home repair grants. The home repair grants are really focused on those who are already homeowners that need repairs and cannot afford to do that themselves. This will set the course for, and for us, we also have some funding for home repair grants. These grants are usually ranging from $10,000 to $25,000, and because it's such a small amount, sometimes you have to prioritize. So we're focused, the priority usually will be on health and safety repairs first. Not to trick out your kitchen and make it, I mean, that may be a consequence of what happens, but it's really to address those health and safety repairs. So all good, that's a good recommendation. At the house settlement, the $200,000 is to support a capital project of someone who is here tonight, and that's Pastor Randall. He is also a community leader, but he also has a program here in Park Heights that helps provide case management services to many of the organizations in the community. And he has a capital development plan to build a facility. And that recommendation is the $200,000 will help him close the gap on actually start building. Tawanda Rec Center is in need of the final phases of their renovations. $250,000 is being recommended for that rec center. As you all know, we don't have a library in Park Heights. We are all working very diligently to develop a fundraising strategy so it doesn't take us another 10 years to get a library. So this is some seed money, basically, of what needs to happen. And then there is Art and Row at $119,000 that is being recommended for art projects in Park Heights. And I love art projects. However, do you think the priority is art projects in Park Heights today?
No. What does ROW stand for?
So it's an acronym for a name of, I'm not really sure, but it's an acronym. But it's really an art project that there have been some projects in Park Heights already through this, and they're recommending expansion of that project.
Like dropping crabs and elephants all over the place.
And butterflies? Okay. So then we have the shared use path network that is $275,000. That Sinai did a project that would extend walking paths from their new Center for Hope building that will open this spring to the hospital. This project is being recommended to extend the walking path and connections from the hospital to the Jones Falls Trail. And I'm not sure if we need that yet either, but it's up to you. And then $20,000 for the Care Lot program is to adopt lots that are owned by the city. And this money is being recommended to go to DPW to support maintenance of those lots. So this, and then the $51,000 is pretty typical to go to support administrative costs to the planning department to help facilitate the process. So these are the recommendations that have come out. Last night we had a preview of this and some initial conversations. There were residents on the line that had a lot of questions about this. And I want to know what your questions are tonight, because what you have an opportunity to do is, if you don't want art projects yet and you think maybe we could do art projects from some other funding. I love art projects, but there are other, you got to think broadly. Are there other ways that we can do art projects? And typically, I would say yes. There are many organizations providing grants and opportunities around art. If we want art projects, that is something that we could do together to look for other funding opportunities. So what I'm proposing, when we go back on Tuesday, February 1st, is to say what we want. Because these can change if you do it.
Who made this recommendation?
The city.
The city made this.
And they say that they've gotten some feedback, and they developed these recommendations through their work working with the city or extensions of projects that have happened in the past. They're building momentum on.
So they just took some of the things that they would normally do and just decided to offer here. So this is like a blueprint for a starting point or what have you. But if, like you said, if we don't like it, we always have the opportunity to speak up and say so.
Yes.
I think one of the main things to take care of is like all the abandoned and broken down buildings. It's the eyesore.
Right. And that strategy, those things are in momentum. And so the home repair grant is definitely one way to address housing. The development incentives are meant more, but to address some of the vacancies. While that is not enough money, they've been really doing a block area, targeted areas by target areas to try to address that, in addition to the other work that's going on. But we all know that we need much more money, and we're in that together to help develop strategies. But this is just one component that's being recommended.
What's the amount that can be spent? Is that the total right there?
So this is the total allocation. It's really 2.5. Park Heights Renaissance also gets a part of this entire funding. And let me just explain. In typical years, on average for the last few years, $8 million or so has been allocated to Park Heights. Last year, a lot of things changed. So because we have a major project over here at Pimlico, there was a lot of negotiation that had to be made to make that project work. Part of that negotiation, everybody had to put into the pot, the city, the state, and Park Heights. So Yeah, 3.5 million of our money goes to repay the bonds that supported the development of this Pimlico project. So again, don't get upset. That project is yours, right? We're paying for it, so you got to get involved. You got to be a part of that process. We will. There's. You want to talk about that, Pastor Randall, shortly?
I had another thing.
But we have as a part of that process, we have ensured that there is real community engagement. So there's a board that has been formed as a part of that process that includes all the community leaders in the Park Heights Master Plan and community leaders in the 1 mile radius. And they are working right now and really getting started. We have a chair and a vice chair now that will be working with the community and Park Heights Renaissance and South Drive too, to help get the word out about what we want at that Pimlico site, to how you may be a new business at that site. So that will be ongoing process that will happen over the next 3 years. But we're starting that process to make sure that everybody has that information and knows what's going, that the information is shared, and that we have an influence in what is built there. But immediately, we should talk about this.
And just to piggyback on what you just said, neighbors can get involved by going and joining your neighborhood association.
Correct.
Join the association because your president sits on the board.
Yes.
So when I sit on the compact, when we discuss those information, to get that information, we as presidents come back to the community and share it with you. If you don't like something, that's your opportunity to say, I don't like that, and let's go back to the table. And you send us back in, and we go back and discuss that. So if you want to be a part of this process about what's coming in your neighborhood and what's being developed at the racetrack, and I mean, it's a lot. You really need to be a part of your association to really get the information hands-on. We're developing a website. They're doing door-to-door. They're going to have town hall meetings and charrettes. So you will have an opportunity to really be a part of it. You just got to make yourself available. And I wanted to say something about the shared use path network connection, whatever all that is. $275,000. That is to build a walking path from Pimlico Road on Belvedere to the chicken store on Belvedere and Park Heights. From that little section, $275,000.
Going to the hospital.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
It's not a bridge going to the hospital?
No, that's a walking path.
Take that.
So what we're recommending,
We can walk in there.
we've assessed and gotten feedback from stakeholders in the community. One of the recommendations that we're putting forward is $200,000 for business grants in Park Heights. We're also looking at, as many of you know, Langston Hughes Resource Centers here. Mr. Mitchell has passed, and we want to we want to continue that legacy of providing services. Langston Hughes had a fire recently, and they need capital dollars. Those are the type of recommendations we're putting forward. But we're also, that is our recommendation for a business grant. So I need you guys to say that. I need you to write these letters. We have some sample letters here today. And you can also send those letters to PCDA. It's very simple. PCDA@baltimorecity.gov.
They will take 2 sentences.
Yeah.
I disapprove of this, and it should go here. That's it. That's all you have to write.
Real quick, can I just say something, kind of piggyback on what Pastor Randall was saying? You know, it's very important. You know, I live within the 1 mile radius. I'm not in Park Heights, but within 1 mile radius. But also it's important, like what he said, as far as be a part of your community association. Because just in case if there's a project that maybe you can't get allocations from here, you also can advocate as far as, say, with Parks and Recs or with DGS or other city agency to allocate funds as far as within their budget. Because that's something that we did in West Arlington. Before we start utilizing our own funds, we had made sure we had demanded Recs and Parks to allocate funds to go towards Penrose Park that's in our neighborhood. So they had additional funds that they haven't allocated yet, and you can actually pitch some recommendations on how to allocate those funds as well outside of this allocation.
Yeah, and so let me give you a real live example of what Sean just said. So the shared use path connections project, if you're paying attention and you are there asking questions, this is a project being recommended to go to the Department of Transportation, right? And so do we want to give our money to a city agency? And that's what Sean is saying. We want to definitely, if there's a gap, work collaboratively with the city when we agree. But there may be a way that the Department of Transportation, if they feel this is important, they could pay for it themselves out of their budget or plan for that in their budget. So again, there are a lot of ways to do this. The main point is I want to make sure there's awareness first. Access to information is the starting point. So please, please, you can follow us on Facebook. We're trying to do better. We're getting information out to the 30,000 residents that live here, but there are also other networks. Sean Sinet puts out a lot of information. The PCDA has a social media channel. There are lots of information sources going around, but start with getting involved. And if you give us your information, we will be adding you to our distribution list so you can also get more information. But tonight, we are telling you, and we're going to put this information out again. Just go to the PCDA website. This spending plan is online right now. It is there for you to see, and you see it says proposed, which means we have the opportunity to change it. So next Tuesday, please do not forget, we'll send out the information. Please, on February the 1st, be in attendance on that call, and you can ask all these questions that you have tonight. You should do that on the call. And you should talk about what you want and what you recommend. And then you should follow up with letters that have to be submitted by February the 28th. All right, so you don't have to do this today. I encourage you to first go to that first meeting next week, ask your questions. Let's get aligned on what we are going to collectively push for, which I believe tonight we're all interested in business development grants. And then start sending your letters and stay engaged in that process. They'll walk you through the process, but after February 1st, the first public meeting will be almost a month for you to submit your letters. Then they have to come back. The board will basically deliberate, and then they'll have a final public meeting, which you should come to and attend again in March. And that will be the draft of what was actually, is now being recommended for the mayor's signature to adopt in his budget. So you have from now to February 28th to make a real impact on what you want to see happen with this funding.
And there is also, I'm sorry, there is also, just so that you know you're not by yourself, there are people that are sitting on the board right now that had questions about the very budget you see right there. And they threw out some questions, but they put it in the back of their head. If they hear from you, to know that they are not alone, it will push them to stop the lever and let's talk about this because the people don't want it. So I'm telling you, they are already on the board. They just need to hear you say, we don't want it.
Yolanda, who has the vested interest in the walkway?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
She said it's for the hospital. That's from the hospital.
Right now, and so I'll say this. You know, these are nice things to have after you get your community plan in place and we get moving further along in actual development. That probably would be a nice to have later. But I think that Sean's point earlier is is this the responsibility of us to pay for this? Or if this is actually a nice to have, can the Department of Transportation find that in their budget to do that themselves?
I just have one quick question. Who is the president of this associate, the neighborhood, the neighborhood association, who is?
So in Park Heights, we have a lot of neighborhood associations.
Is there a contract or?
Yes, there are
Give me one. And that's
about
already-
14 officially
It's 15.
neighborhood, 15 neighborhood associations. And we can try to help you get that list, but it's also on the planning department's website. So can somebody take note that we need to send that information out too? So that information is online as well. We have the information so you can call our office as well. Depending on where you are, are you trying to figure out, that's Ms. Spence. I'm not sure if you know Ms. Spence, but we can get you her information.
Thank you.
Yeah, all of this stuff is online and we will send this information out. If you can't find it or you don't get it, please call our office so that we can help you access that information.
Yolanda, did you say yet how we could participate on February 1st?
Yes, it is a virtual call. So it's 5:30, but the planning department actually sends out the link. So I don't have the link to share yet, but I know it's February 1st at 5:30.